Good morning. Happy Sunday, guys. So, I wanted to get on here as I'm working on my coffee and talk to all of you guys that send me messages regarding senior life insurance company, stealing renewals. It's been very common, with social media and podcasts for people to talk shit. And I myself don't like to participate in that kind of back and forth because it never ends well, especially when you're online talking shit about people. Think about it. And either two things happen. One, you get hurt because some crazy person hears the story and now someone's getting hurt. Or two, someone's getting sued and getting hurt financially. Doesn't take a scientist to know that that's typically what happens when you get on here and think that just because you're behind a screen that you can unload on people and do all that shit. That does not work. In my case, I've held people accountable in Pakistan from Northern California. So again, guys, it's important to be careful when we're online, especially engaging in business. But I've been getting messages from different people asking me what are my thoughts on senior life not paying renewals, senior life stealing people renewals. And for me, I have never ever had an issue with senior life not paying my residuals. And I'm talking over seven figures over 13 years. And not just that, but my agents over the years can say the same exact thing. So, not everything that you hear or read is true. And let me explain to you why. When you sign up to sell insurance, you sign a contract. Whether you're vested or not, that's irrelevant. But you signed a contract. And in most cases, if you read your contract, then there shouldn't be no issues with, what you're doing. But we do have a contract that governs how we do business. And one thing I have not seen, and I've seen multimillionaires going on podcasts talking shit. I've seen, you know, other agents talking crap about senior life, but I have yet to see the lawsuits, the civil lawsuits, not one. And look, I'll share with you guys my story. When I started my career, I started my final expense with Lincoln Heritage and Golden Memorial. Great company. And I credit them for showing me final expense and really blessing me with the opportunity. But just like in anything, in any business, for example, in a marriage, it takes two to fight. There did come a time in 2010 where myself and the company weren't seeing eye to eye on certain things. And I decided to move on. Number one at the time for Lincoln Heritage and Golden Memorial. Decided it was time for me to move on. When that happened, I happened to come to Senior Life Insurance Company at the time. And we're talking in 2010, 2011. And when I left, my renewals became under attack, meaning that we ended up in court, in federal court. That's right. Golden Memorial, Lincoln Heritage, they served me with a lawsuit for trademark infringement, breach of contract. And let me take that back. Golden Memorial did, not Lincoln Heritage. And at the point of time, again, they were accusing me of these things, and one of them was breach of a contract in which they said that I was rolling applications from Lincoln Heritage to Senior Life. Well, what do you think my contract stated in the fine print? Well, it stated that if I left Lincoln Heritage and went to Senior Life and replaced one single Lincoln Heritage policy for Senior Life, I would forfeit my over $2 million in renewals that I had at Lincoln Heritage. That's what the lawsuit was. Not only that, but at the time that I got that lawsuit, I had already extinguished my savings and I was at zero because I was starting from zero again at Senior Life. So the legal cost of defending this lawsuit, again, were very expensive, but that's what I had to do to fight for my renewals. And I did. And luckily, at the time, which was a very dark moment in my life, because at this, my ex-wife, I, was messing around with the person that was behind the lawsuit. So to add insult to injury, not only what I was fighting for my renewals, but I was also dealing with now a divorce and dealing with the fact that you get my point for all of you guys that have been married, that reality. But I won that lawsuit in my favor because I was able to prove that zero calls were ever replaced. And I never lost my insurance renewals. We settled out of court in my favor, and that was the end of it. Again, I don't share this to dig up old wounds, but these are the facts. What's crazy is that some of these people that I see talking shit about others, have really nothing to say because, again, some of these guys used to work in my office before they made all that money. So, where am I going with this? If you have a contract with a carrier, you signed it. If you knew it was in there and someone tried to take your business, what are you going to do? You're going to hold them accountable. In my case, I did that years ago. And if they would have proven that I was rolling business, guess what? I deserve to lose my Lincoln Heritage renewals. Bottom line. But here's something that no one's talking about. These people that are out there talking shit, in this case, Senior Life, where is the lawsuits? If you don't have a lawyer that specializes in contract, business contracts, I could send you some recommendations of some lawyer friends that I know that can, go over your contract with you. But the bottom line is that a lot of these agents, what they do, guys, is that they talk shit, but they don't talk about what they did. They don't talk about that as soon as they left a Senior Life or any insurance company, they started rolling business, replacing those policies. And then what do you think is going to happen when the insurance company finds out? Because they ain't stupid. Well, they're going to find out that you're targeting them. And then what does your contract say? Well, it states that if you do this, this, and this, you will lose your renewals. So, how can you talk bad about a company, say those things, and then not file a lawsuit? Let's be real. Now, if you didn't understand your contract, hey, I feel for you. You should have sat down, talked to your upline, asked the questions. The other day, I dropped a video about Senior Life's compensation, about their chargebacks, and I broke it down. And I talked about how a lot of agents don't see the renewals and then they're pissed off. Why? Hello, the chargebacks. But most of you guys aren't reading the agent manual again. So, guys, think about it. Where are the lawsuits? There's no lawsuits. If someone's going to come after your money that you've worked very, very hard for, we live in America. You can file a lawsuit. It's not a third world country where, the local mob boss is taking over your business. I'm going to be dropping some more about the renewals and sharing more stories about why you shouldn't be listening to this stuff and reading your contracts and staying true to your contracts. If you leave Senior Life or any insurance company, don't break your contracts, follow it, and everything will be a-okay.